Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the Sexy Brutale. I guess it's worth mentioning that there is a fairly nice press A to start the game screen right before this point, but for some reason my OBS won't capture it because you have to click on the window to put the window in focus, and as soon as I click on the window to put it in focus, it just moves to the main menu section here, of which this background is considerably less interesting to look at. It's a new day for me, and yeah, I still am not really sure if I understand why I would want multiple save games, but we can see that the game does seem to be saving the number of hours we've spent, although honestly 39 hours does seem like a short amount of time as far as in-game hours to have spent, so 39 hours may very well be the actual real-world hours that I've been in this game, considering that I've paused the game and slept for 12 hours a couple times. Honestly, I probably only played the game for 7 or 8 hours in total. There's nothing else really being shown on this menu other than the gambling image here, and in that animation style you can see they didn't spend a lot of energy drawing people's faces and such. We are fairly close to the end of the game, and I do wonder if maybe there is a speedrun achievement for beating the game in a faster time. If you remembered everything and knew everything, you could probably beat the game fairly quickly, but you are going to be forever limited by the fact that the character is fairly slow. We still have a lot of rooms to look at to try to open this door. And yeah, if I'm gonna try and run around and find more items, oops. So the weirdness here, the bait illuminated, which switch? Uncertain. Ack. So is this possibly where the power is broken? So it does definitely feel like everything in this game centers around the idea of the basement having a lot of interactions. And we still don't have this ability to transfer and shortcut through mirrors, which seems like it's obviously that's going to be an ability that happens at some point in the future, is that you will just be able to transfer and shortcut to and from the basement quite often. This is powered on, it seems. So it seems like I potentially solved this puzzle and that it was permanently solved. Interesting. But there is this whole other aspect of finding a cup and then filling a cup with water and possibly doing something else than just watering things. We're hearing gunshots, which is the guy getting shot at the very beginning of the game. Sixpence being shot. What is a reasonable number of times to do this, though? Like, is it definitely a case where you have to spend potentially an entire day just watering the plant? Because that doesn't seem very realistic. Doing this 4 or 5 times seems too much, considering how everything else in the game has been a one and done. Tally marks. Notebook, the first few pages are filled with tally marks. Papers are too faded to read. And every second I spend in looking at that is another second that I'm not spending looking at the rest of these rooms. So we should just investigate. Would you like insurance? Interesting. So, roulette is a game for Princess Foolish. We have a roulette ball now. You can hear the casino faintly through the distance. So is this guy being controlled, and this is the real roulette dealer, or is it just a robot? Huge amounts of power being used in this room. Walking up to this guy doesn't electrocute yourself or anything like that. He's saying things that might be interesting to find out. Okay, if I run on this in the center, it plays the music. We'll run the other way and see if that does anything. There we have the Queen of Diamonds. We can hear somebody symboling for a servant. Statue, a relative of one of the ones upstairs. This is the king. The arm is missing. So maybe this roulette slot machine means something more. Alright. Note scrawled in the dark blue picture. Thanos avoids the lift shops. Immolate instead. Isn't that a collectible? Note scrawled here in the gold. On the golden picture, Orm render in the furnace. So this is just like the instructions to kill all of these people. Grayson lure, entrapped, impale. Read, self-terminated on electronics. Manipulation of factions as needed. I'm not sure I've seen that one. Note scrawled in blue picture. Tequila, lethal, self-laceration, then feed to spiders. Willow drowning to mundane, despair into hanging. Trinity always hears the Garrett put her with the spider. Clay killed the spider, poisoned him instead. So he's poisoned, and I didn't even realize that he was poisoned in the blackjack. Sixpence blow his brains out. Noticeably, right now, as we're about to run out of time, there are different lights on and different lights out. I'm not sure what that really means. Like somebody's Yeah, I think one light just turned off. So another person just died. And so this would be the room that's telling you how fast you'd have to move to try and save everybody at the same time. See, I'm running out of time here. And there's a secret room back behind that. So my hope here is that we can get to this pinball room and use this roulette ball. And is that giving us a score? Or is that just giving us a card? And we'll just spend the rest of our time here. The soil's wet now. There's obviously something more to it than just getting the soil wet. But it really isn't just from the basement that you're going to be able to save everybody. I know there's more to it than that. Like, at a certain level, I don't think the arm is ready. So ringing the bells and changing things there probably doesn't help you much. And so I'm just kind of waiting for time. Yeah, it does kind of feel like the solution here, if you were going to do this, is going to boil down to running up here, escaping up through this hatch, saving one person that way, then running back down this way, which probably means you really don't start from that spot anyways. And so all I really want to do is just kind of wait until we get the arm, but the arm doesn't happen until like 4 p.m. so it's very probable that I should do something else. And these tubes and walkways definitely do come off as being something that you won't be able to access until later, so we can't be that close to the end of the game. Sapling is now a small tree, but this would have taken years to grow this large. Alright. So this is multiple playthroughs, so there is no way, fairly obviously, that you would the soil is wet. There's no way that you would have been able to solve this puzzle in one run, or solve this game in one run, unless you don't have to do any of the stuff that is here at all. Which that may be the case, is that there might be just one single action at the very end of the game that saves everybody. But there is clearly a time manipulation element on this. We now have the statue arm. And yeah, that came earlier. Sixpence is probably the first one to die, and we should check that. Go look in the room and see if he's the first one to die, because that's going to inform us on something. Yeah. So around 3 o'clock, so you only have about 3 hours to save Sixpence's life, if you're going to try and save everybody's life. And it immediately pulls to the heart, and that immediately seems to have just made a permanent solution. How many items do we have now? We're at 40 of 52 of the cards, and we've kind of missed the invitations. But yeah, we are making a decent amount of progress as far as getting the remaining 52 cards, or 12 cards, which would be the ones remaining. But yeah, it still feels like there's a lot more to the game. Clay Rockridge, Red Rockridge, Red Flower, Arum Runes, so place the red flower here. One flower is replaced with the other, and well, the flower takes root in the soil and blooms. So this is a combination lock. Flower takes root and blooms. Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start. And yeah, the game is getting really crazy. Elner Boons. Bonds, not Boon. Replace that. And so that is now charged up. This crypt is empty. We don't have any flowers left, but much like the game The Cave, this is just getting weirder and weirder. The sexy due to the lure of gambling. Right in the wall, you can hear the casino faintly in the distance. It is brutal due to the impact of addiction. Well, I guess that's the name. It is brutal because the master thought it more exotic. The house recognizes a full house blaze as the highest value hand. See, I don't have anything to actually do here now. We're waiting for the tree to grow, which would be another reset. And I could just leave the environment and try and get collectibles, but I don't think that's the right move. We still don't have a third key item, which feels like we should have a third key item. So your best thing, Dutch straights are approved at the table, Dutch ovens are not. So it's better just to sit here and listen to this guy and see if he says anything useful. Any player completing a flush after dropping a deuce will receive applause from all players. These are just dirty jokes. His words are lies, his truth is on the wall. Who is he? Loaded dice are permitted as entertainment, loaded guns are not. I don't know how you would convince this guy to shut down without going back upstairs and shutting down the power. There's a lot of rooms. The term "deuce" in multiple jokes is acceptable in the eyes of the house. Seems like we circled around to everything he says. He repeats himself. Undetected cheating is sanctioned by the house. So yeah, Red's heart brims with an unspoken love. It's probably not going to tell us any real secret or solve anything by just watching him till the end. The previous statement is false. I guess they probably just wanted to reuse this Grim Reaper character, which noticeably he's the only one without a mask, and they again seem to have no ability to really draw people's faces or probably people's hands particularly well, and so drawing a larger scale Grim Reaper is probably easier since it's not supposed to look like a human anyways. Provide a round of cocktails in the event of a royal flush. So we need to stop the royal flush from happening. And see, the only thing I would want to see is it possible that there might be a secret in this room once all the lights are out? No. Alright. So this puts you in a position where either we're trying to get that final ability. Hey, there's something in this room. Knowledge of this place floods your mind. Was that always any option, or do you only get that as a prompt when you've been in a room multiple times? I guess that would be the question. Certainly. If there are supposed to just be secrets overall for everything, then... Right. Small tree fills the room. How long would it have taken the water sapling to grow like this? See, this really does imply that you're not really going back in time. And that gets it. And the door is open. So I lost a cup on that one. Also, yeah, with that, I think we just go forward and see what's in this room before we hear the gunshot and see if we can end the game before anybody dies. Wasn't really expecting this. So somebody in a water tank. Is that the bloody girl that we've been seeing? Oh my god. What has he done to you? You? Is that Boone or the character we're playing as? No, run. Is this? And here we have Gold Helmet, which I think we've seen him before. And I assume that's the Marquis. Well, this is utterly tiresome. I mean, well done, and so forth. You found my secret, etc., etc. I know it must look cruel chaining what appears to be a madman up in a dungeon. Looks like he's about to crack the whole facility free, or crack the glass. They said there was something on the walls, but I don't see anything on the walls. Chaining what appears to be a madman up in the dungeon, using these mirrors to show him the guests being murdered over and over again, so he is seeing the time loop also. Tormenting him until his tears of sorrow and rage fill the tank that is his prison. Oh, this is a great example of the camera not being zoomed in enough to see that, and frankly, if you were supposed to have that be obvious, you would have probably had to explain that or show it several times. Like, you could have, each time somebody dies, shown a teardrop animation as a hint, or something like that. But yeah, we just haven't spent enough time in this room to even see that that's what was happening. As far as I could tell, the tank was just filling up with water from the base, based on the pumps. But it's all very necessary. You see? Yes, I can see how you look at me, but... Boone, take this. Get out of here. No, I rather think not. And then he snaps his finger and seemingly just freezes time. Yes, that's better. It's also better, certainly, because the noise is gone. I control every part of this world. This creature, however, is what you might consider the battery. He's my power source. The two of you were the only aspects outside my grasp. But now I think it's time to end this. Not with a bang or fanfare, but with a simple snap of my... What? Urgh, how dare you? Go! So we have a sapphire tear ring. And then there's a draining of the tears. And it's raining blood. Run, Boone. This is very much not over. So we get an achievement and everything is getting rewound. Seemingly back to 12. I guess the way the pocket watch is designed, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense to have more time added. Okay. So, seemingly we need to save that person, whoever that is supposed to be. We don't have a name yet. A blue tear-shaped ring given to you by the bloody girl. We don't know what that does. Great gold elevator was what we got for scanning the room. Alright. Let's see what happens when you use the ring. Nothing happens when you present the ring. We don't want to advance time. So, what am I supposed to be doing with the ring now? Like, let's look at the map and see if there's a point of interest that we're supposed to interact with or deal with, or if we are just supposed to go back to saving people. Yeah. See, it doesn't really feel like just having the sapphire ring would lead towards this. Sealed tightly shut once again. So, unless, like, this door opened up for us, or possibly this door opened up for us. It does look like this path is getting farther and farther in this direction, and there is a card over there. Alright, so we know that there's one collectible, but that's probably, if I was to guess, we need to get 51 of the 52 cards. Alright. So the only other thing I could think is that maybe the sapphire ring now lets you finally, like, defeat these people. And so you could possibly be in the same room as other people. I don't know if I really believe that. But otherwise, it does seem like what we need to do is probably like run into a different place. Probably that place at the very beginning where the secret garden is, even though we don't have the best reason to do that at this point. But that is the only thing I can kind of think of. Why is this room completely dark? It just glitched, it feels like. There. On the map, if I go up here, that's probably fine. I probably don't need to go the entirety. See, this snake skin, though, still doesn't really feel like we figured out how to defeat that or change that. Okay. So let's just set that as our starting point. Now, though, we just really have no idea as to what we're doing. Like, at a certain point, yes, it does make sense that if he is the battery, we would want to drain the battery and make it so nobody died. How do we accomplish that? I have no idea. And yeah, I could certainly walk around areas and just, let's see what the ring does for you in that case. Yeah. We just have to wait until she died to go in there. That guy just straight up appeared in that room. It felt like. There might be some slight changes, but it kind of feels like, yeah, there's still locked sections even here that we can't defeat. And we didn't get a new mask ability, we got a ring. There just isn't a place where a ring plays any role that I recall. And there's still really no way to get back to Sixpence. So unless the ring opens that up and we could go back to Sixpence that way. The only thing I can think of doing is to shatter this glass and transition to this secret area that really feels like a secret area. The lighting effects in this game is weird and that time seems to shift towards evening fairly quickly. There's another place that we can scan. The door is reacting to the marquee's signet ring, so it's right. Let's see what happens when we open the door now. Apparently, no. Everything's on fire. And so we only have a specific path that we can go through here. So why is there a fire? Let's go ahead and restart the day. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense though. Why are we seeing a fire? And why do we have this chase sequence where kind of obviously what's going to happen here is we have to rush through this fire by setting the checkpoints as quickly as possible before things burst into flames. And the game is very glitchy on this aspect. Like, are we seeing something that happened? Are we seeing something that potentially is going to happen? Are we trying to save the lady before the fire spreads? I think that's the general idea, is that we're probably trying to save the lady and the baby before the fire spreads, and this is the real story. Like, yep. And that does another achievement. So here's the lady that I assume is the blood lady, and the baby's not born yet. And so this may be saving an extra person and getting an extra ability, but I'm still not sure what the actual end game is, because it really didn't explain itself there at all. Like, I could see people getting the ring and not having found the secret passage in the house, or having found it and just not thought about that would somehow connect to the ring. So yeah, I could also see this ending the game right now though, and we may just miss some stuff if we can't continue and play some more. Lafcadio, it's been such a long time. Would you talk to Lucas? Something seems to be troubling him. So it does seem like Lafcadio and Lucas are different people, because I did think there was a possibility that Lafcadio was just Lucas. He's always looking up to you, you know. I know he teases you dreadfully about your lifestyle. But he respects you enormously. More than anyone else I know. I believe he always wanted to be more like you. Perhaps when he's a little older. Or more mature, I should say. Oh, you have our ring. Can I see? So he's just going to hand over the ring. Now we have magic powers, which I guess means magic powers do exist in this world in general. I remember you presenting it to us when you married us. Interesting. You must take it. Lucas will be missing it, I'm sure. So now it's this ruby ring. Tell him I just need a rest. This little guy is heavy. I hope he won't be mad that I'm missing the party. I know he loves the mansion, but this is all we've ever really needed. It would be kind of crazy to build a mansion right next to a small house you originally owned or lived out of, but I could see somebody doing that. This right here, this is our perfect little world. Please tell him I'll wait for him, won't you? I'll be right here whenever he is ready. But see, weirdly, we don't have some doors unlocked. We don't have the ability to walk through mirrors. She's walking through what looks like a door that's just in darkness. Like they didn't want to bother to animate it. That was Eleanor, the Marquis's wife. And noticeably, she does walk out of the room before the Blood Lady shows up, but they're not immediately pointing out that the Blood Lady very possibly is Eleanor. Eleanor was also the password to get into the club. She is always here, safe in this perfect place. You've seen some of the truth now. The mansion was on fire. We, the guests, died. So I guess in the original timeline, the guests died in a fire, and now they're in this kind of hell, repeating a sequence over and over again. It should have ended there, but the creature in the golden mask, somehow he brought them all back, torturing us over and over. I try to help them to find some peace in all this pain. He is so strong. But with that ring, I believe you can stop him. There is a secret place. My uncle, Sixpence, was so close. So, she is related to Sixpence, I guess. Take the ring to the room where Aram died. It will unlock the path. Eleanor left her mask for you. Take it. Eleanor had a mask, apparently. Eleanor's mirror walk. Eleanor was the life and soul of the connected people and places in the Sexy Brutale. Her mask allows you to travel by stepping into the mirrors placed throughout the mansion. You can now walk through any mirror in Sexy Brutale. The movements of all the staff and quests have also been revealed to you on the map. Interesting. Like, Sixpence being her uncle doesn't really mean anything to me, though. She always tried so hard to see the best in people, but it's what you see that will matter. Now look into the mirror. Now she's crying over the crib, it looks like, instead of just dissolving. Interesting, because this seems like, even though we've gotten this ability, we are back to potentially ending the game right here. I've never seen inside that place, you know. I'm not sure whether to rage impotently or just be quietly glad. Anyway, I've watched you, Lefcadio, quote-unquote Lefcadio. Your arrival was somewhat unexpected. All these years you've done your dutiful loop, dying along with Sixpence in the chapel. So I guess I maybe was dying also. Maybe the Blood Lady is also related to me. Then all of a sudden one day, you're running around ruining everything. It took me a little while to figure it out. then of course I knew that bloodied creature had to be involved. I'm sure she has spun all the tales about me and what's happening here. I'm sure they have left out some rather important information. I will be utterly candid with you now, quote, Boone. I could end this right now. I could end you. I have the power. Perhaps she is right, and I am a monster. But we might all be monsters here. I want you to see, to understand. Come with me. This feels like another situation where a zoomed in cutscene would be really useful. And we're loading in all of this. Now the first question is, am I really a murderer? And so we're just loading different areas to go and see everybody's death, I guess. And to that the answer is most assuredly yes. You see this man here, dear Reginald. I killed him stone dead. Family as well, you know. I double tapped on the A button there and missed the line of dialogue. And there's no like visual novel option to like hit pause and bring up a log. So yeah, that was the only gardens one we needed to do. I'll leave that toggled open then. And just no map at this point. So yeah, I missed that line of dialogue and I'll just never see it. Family as well, you know. Okay. So time is frozen. The staff member looks grimly dispassionate. He's doing his job without malice or pleasure. So I wonder if maybe this is where we get the invitations. Sixpence is frozen perfectly in time. His face shows disbelief and agony. It doesn't seem like we can use any item, nor does it seem like we can go anywhere. Oh, the heart of the casino, our dear friend Clay. And see, at this point he's drinking the free shot and getting poisoned. And we didn't even see that part. I don't know if there was something I did to stop him from getting poisoned other than have him move before he got the free shot. I think that's really all I did. You don't get to spend a lot of time in this room for as much as it's animated and decorated. In this scenario, I had him die from a shot of venom from the same spider, which would go on to devour his precious wife. So we did save both lives, but we only got one mask. He did like a drink, Clay, but you never when he was working, you know. Yeah. The mechanical eyes of Sixpence's prototype robot. Alright, so you're getting these observations, but you're not finding invitations or cards or anything. This is the first time you've been able to be in a room with bad guys, too, or even good guys. So fitting, she was so beautiful, Trinity, the moth by moonlight. It's what Clay called her. She loved that name. A moth, so I thought it very fitting for her to be eaten by my giant spider. I suppose the giant spider does indicate how ridiculous some of these rooms we're going to get fairly early in the game. I never had one, you know. I'm sure nothing could possibly grow that big, but by gods I wish they did. I would have kept it in a room just like this one. So I wonder if this isn't all just kind of a simulation at a certain level. the imagination of the bad guy, or maybe he magically created these things after death. That is also a very high possibility. There is a level of childishness in how things are designed, which does imply that that this could all be created by a childlike person. Interesting that when you peer through it, you get more of this. This one was rather fantastical. We found that fish. I so did want to believe the stories of voodoo fish. I rather suspect it was just a guppy with some particularly bright colors. The man who sold it to me must have thought I was the most gullible person under the sun. But I wasn't paying for the fish, I was paying for the story. Eleanor called me a fool, but she did love to watch him in his tank. Best fortune I ever spent. I'd like to say that Willow would have never have hanged herself, but then a long time ago I stopped even trying to pretend I could understand what another person might do. Yeah, and in a lot of ways this feels like this is an intentional recap of the events of the game, just to remind you how these people died. But I still don't see a pattern here in which I could stop all these deaths. Like, I didn't see anything that would have stopped the pipes from putting water in this tank, or poison the pipes from putting water in the tank. So it feels like if there is a solution to save everybody, it is very possibly going to be almost this comedic wrap-up that you could never think of, and it's just going to be kind of a cutscene. Miss Tequila Bell, what a voice. She was a living work of art. I murdered her with the notes of a song, then had my staff throw her body down a garbage chute. They're getting more abrupt in how he's explaining things. Notice how these staff seem to be, well, this one seems to take some pride in the carnage it created. They seem to be kind of faceless nobody characters. And the ghosts aren't in this room when I thought there really would be a ghost in this room. But apparently not. You can peek through the rooms, but there's really, I don't think, a reason to. Slow walking animations. Grayson Reed. It really wasn't a party until those two got here. Grayson really is such a complete scoundrel, but my god, he's fun. Or he was, at least. Reed really would have done anything for him. I'm almost certain that it would be so much more painful if Grayson had gone second and Reed had to watch him die first. Reed, I guess, is secretly in love with Grayson. I think that was the hint. Yes, perhaps I'll change this one. So yeah, he's changing the scenarios, torturing people over and over again. I recently watched the 2022 Hellraiser reboot, and this gold-headed skull kind of does come off as like Pinhead, just torturing people emotionally and physically, killing them over and over again. A real devil character. And if you were going to make a more watered down Pinhead character, a gas mask skull is not a terrible idea. Although the gas mask skull, honestly, is probably more inspired by I think the episode of the Doctor Who reboot called The Empty Child, which was a very scary episode, certainly. I smelted him down in a furnace like a bar of gold. I kept thinking Aram was a female, but I guess not. It's a decent male to female victim ratio, though, so there's really nothing to say or complain about that. All these paintings in the backgrounds, though, of some of these rooms, it just seems so odd that there is that extra art. Although I think some of these paintings have been used multiple times in multiple rooms. The walls could have been fairly empty or bare, or could have been very blurred out images. But on the other hand, these could be just art pictures that somebody else animated and they just licensed the images, because it really is not in the art style of the characters. My mansion has many strange and wonderful creations, but a lift that doubled as an incinerator, that would have been something. Yeah, the obvious point here is that each of these things are very fanciful and not realistic. I like to think that if Aram were able to choose how he went, then perhaps he would have chosen something like this. Though, in a way, he almost did. Because I guess he did burn to death in the mansion like everybody else. I wonder if this game wouldn't have been a little bit better if they had tried to flatten the building out a little bit more and just not have a basement or first floor. It might have played a little bit better that way instead of trying to go up and down in a few places. Thanos, what a mind to waste. It wasn't just that this mansion that he built, you know. There are similar works of architectural genius all over the country. He was a grouchy, often tiresome old man, but that mind was like a cracked diamond. At least his works will live on. Well, Boone, you've heard my confession. As I said, I am a murderer. This is not a brag or a boast. I am not good or clever for it. I am sinful and gross. I've killed everyone in this mansion. But there's one person who didn't die. What's funny, though, is also that this character, Thanos here, is dying at the bottom of the incinerator elevator when he was shown to have died at the top before. So one man who survived the events of the day here, who woke up in a broken body with a broken mind. Interesting. So is this going to be the reveal that the Marquis survived and he's in some kind of medical bed dreaming all of this up, and his mind might be separated into each of the different members of the Cards killers, or whatever I was calling him. I don't know if I really had a name for him. They put a mask on his face, and a machine forced him to breathe until he was fit to stand. I guess he's wearing kind of a gold skull mask, and these other guys are who are the staff here? Is the question. And maybe I am the staff here, and thus I am the killer too. Or maybe the Marquis is the staff here. A man who served his time but time could never be enough. Whoever was in the cell, they must have been down here for years upon years for a tree to grow this large. I still don't know what this is supposed to be. And there's nothing to read here. And it doesn't seem like there's anything else to do here. A man who lived when all the others did not. How would you like to meet that man, Boone? I'd like you to meet him and then decide if this day should end. Alright. This crypt is marked Eleanor. You know somehow that the grave is real. She is here. So each of these graves potentially of somebody who burned in the mansion. The crypt is marked Lucas. It is empty. Okay. What's funny is we're kind of running. It looks like we're running out of time, and we can pull the left trigger to rewind time at any point. But also time is not moving forward. So there's a way to, I think, probably break this cycle by rewinding time. The answer will be behind these doors. Come and find me there. She and I will be waiting for you. And so then we rewind everything. And we're back to Saturday. And we're at the Heaven and Hell staircase. Really for no good reason. Okay. So ideally, I would like to run around and try to find the 12 remaining cards and the 6 remaining invitations, but I'm not sure now really is still the time to do that. We also know there is a lot of stuff which look like rooms that you would need to scan, and we haven't seen a chapel yet at all, so we kind of know that there's more gameplay. And here it says an unknown power is needed to unlock that information, so yeah, that does tell me that we still need to unlock some other powers. So we're not as close to the end of the game as it might seem. Alright. We also really don't have an ability still to get back to this area, if this is supposed to be the chapel. So we have the full pattern of a character here. So the only way you stop the 2 of diamonds from killing this guy is you've got to stop the two of diamonds from getting in that area first. And then if we look and zoom out on the basement, I wonder if the mirror, it does kind of seem like that's exactly what happens as they go through the mirror, and the mirror gets them into these portals and lets them go in a loop. And so these are the shortcuts of all the killers being in that loop, which arguably means that unless we can get rid of the killers, you can't use those portals very easily anyways to get to that one card. But otherwise in the basement, seems like nobody else is in the basement after the first couple hours. And then the first floor, you can zoom up a little bit here. And you're following one specific ghost that's walking around, where multiple other ghosts are not walking around. So somebody comes out through the mirror. Somebody gets killed, and then they come that way too. What's funny is this kind of boils down to two questions, not instead of one. Should we be defeating the killers, or should we be focusing on actually just saving people? There's like a whole conversation that seems like it happens in that room that I've never even seen. And we need to be fairly zoomed out to actually see all of this happening. I guess by default, pretty much nothing does happen with those two. He'll just stay in the casino gambling. Where? And then the theater people have a lot of people wandering around. As the challenges got more difficult, they increased the number of people. And seems like Eleanor doesn't show up on the map at all. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that you would have to look through. And it doesn't really feel like the game helps you that much now that you have the full marking of where everybody is. It does just seem like that is an extra help or assistance. There's a whole room here on the second floor that seems like it's not even that big of a room, and that's where we're supposed to go. And there's room enough that there might be one more location, certainly, but I am not really expecting to see a lot. We still haven't really figured out what the ruby heart ring does, if it actually does have any interaction or ability. And as far as the mirror walk is concerned, as soon as I see a mirror, I need to walk through it and see where it goes. But in a practical concept of can I plan things out and see what is the right place to be, like, I don't really feel like that's something that I could think through. Yeah. So it either is going to become a real struggle to try and save everybody, or it's not even going to be an actual challenge to save everybody. We're not getting any hints as far as finding invitations about the guests. And there is just a ton of stuff still to find otherwise. Anyways, we were doing 40-minute episodes before, and this has gone an hour and 10 minutes. There is a possibility the game ends in the next recording. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we can find a reason to keep on playing and find the rest of the collectibles. But we'll just have to wait and see. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.